Hey folks, Trouble T-Cat here, and last night we got the launch of Season 3 for Battlefield 6, and I gotta say, it's pretty fucking good. This feels like the start of the redemption arc for DICE, I think, with this game. The community have been pretty unhappy with some elements of Battlefield 6 in terms of like the core gameplay and the map variety, and this just feels like DICE are cooking. I was feeling optimistic before this came out, and I think they have delivered, so let's get into it. First of all, though, I would like it if you guys could leave a like and a comment and consider subscribing if you want to see more Battlefield 6 content. Anyway, the footage you're seeing is from me playing this on stream last night right after the patch came live, and I was a little drunk, so the gameplay is going to be kind of mid, but it's the footage I've got, and I wanted to get this video out for you guys. I did play a bit more today to make sure that my insights were not purely driven by the liquor, but were also, you know, genuine, and they were. So the first thing I want to talk about is the vehicle improvements. This patch was really, aside from the new map, focused on improvements to the vehicle gameplay, and the tanks feel so much more fun to drive, you guys. They're so much more responsive, and the changes to the regeneration make it feel like there are viable strategies that you can use that involve actually maneuvering around the map and supporting your team instead of kind of hiding on a hill somewhere with engineers on your ass praying that you don't get hit because, you know, you can't regen if you do, and you can't necessarily rely on your team at all in this game as you're playing pub matches. I gotta say, yeah, so much more fun to drive, and they feel much more interesting in terms of the tactics you can deploy, as well as better to fight against in general. I haven't put in a huge amount of time as engineer yet, so I can't really comment if the launcher and AT mine balance was nailed, but yeah, armored vehicles feel way better. Also, last night, I had the most fun I've ever had in jets and helicopters in this game. The adjustments here in terms of what the patch did were pretty small, but I will say that the indicator for other jets tailing you actually helps a lot when you're trying to dogfight. But I think the main thing here was just playing on Golmud Railway, and the difference between Golmud Railway and the other maps in the game in terms of the amount of space air vehicles have is staggering. Most of the maps in this game feel so claustrophobic in the jet. You cross the map in seconds, and, you know, you can't get out of range of a lot of the anti-air stuff on the ground. There's no space for dogfights because you're constantly running into those out-of-bounds markers. Golmud Railway, that is not a problem at all. There is plenty of space for the jets and helicopters to maneuver, and it made it feel so much less claustrophobic and so much more fun and tactical and like I had space. So obviously we need more maps that are like this, that have this extended airspace, and I really hope that DICE will be looking at this and pushing out the air boundaries on older maps, because there are some where it would help so much, I think, just to have more room to breathe in the jets. Something I wanted to mention in this quick little video, just something that I noticed but I didn't see in the patch notes, is that the Assault's deploy beacon now has limited charges before it disappears. It seems to have 4 charges instead of being unlimited respawns onto that beacon. Of course, the player that placed it can still just respawn on it and then put it back down, so it's not like a huge deal. I'm not sure this change was really needed, but I also don't really have a problem with it. I just thought it was interesting to point out because I don't recall seeing this in the patch notes, and I wonder if there's other stuff they forgot to mention, or maybe I just didn't read the patch notes closely enough, but, you know, I don't think it was in there. There is an aspect of this patch I was a little disappointed with. They said they were increasing the recoil with basically all of the full auto guns, and especially some of the faster time to kill guns. And this recoil adjustment was a lot less than I was expecting and wanted. I really wanted them to increase the recoil in a more noticeable way. I think it's just still too easy and not engaging, fun, skill-based enough to, like, beam people at long ranges with full auto guns. And it's a problem for trying to get around the map as infantry, so I think that they really do need to either up the recoil or add more spread to the guns or something to control this. Probably also reduce bullet velocities a little bit to be closer to a game like BF3 or BF4. Like, I want to stress that when I'm asking for changes here to increase spread or reduce bullet velocity, I'm not, like, asking for anything unprecedented for this franchise. BF6 has much less spread and much higher bullet velocities compared to BF3 and BF4, and I just think it would be better to have those numbers a little bit different. But we might be seeing more changes to this further down the line. This patch was really mostly focused on vehicles, and, you know, we have the promise of more infantry combat changes coming later. So hopefully DICE move in the right direction with that stuff the same way they have with the vehicles. And as with the vehicles, you know, hopefully they're bold enough to make big changes where big changes are needed. At least they did alter the controller recoil reduction to be less. For those of you who might not know this, if you play with a controller, you used to have 25% less recoil than mouse and keyboard. Just like baseline, you just have lower recoil. And they've changed that so it's now more like 12% less recoil, so it's about half as big of a reduction. In my opinion, though, they should really just remove this entirely, and controllers should play with the same recoil as mouse and keyboard. They already have auto-aim to make up for the fact that controller is generally a little bit harder to aim quickly with than mouse. So, yeah, I don't think they need this recoil reduction on top of it. But anyway, overall, this was a great patch. I'm hoping to see more big improvements to the infantry gameplay down the line, maybe later in the season or maybe with Season 4. But they've made such a good improvement to the way the armored vehicles feel. And yeah, I had so much more fun with jets and helicopters last night than I ever have before in this game. So if this is the direction DICE are going in, I am fully on board and looking forward to see what they do next. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, just getting my thoughts out there for you guys. And, you know, for the benefit of joining in the public conversation about this game. Not as many people making videos about this as you might hope. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, consider leaving a like, comment, subscribing for more, and until next time, Treble T Cat out.